Today, we're talking about local search and Google Business Profile. And I'm really pumped for this episode because today's guest is an expert in something that I think a lot of business owners overlook in today's heavy focus on social media marketing. And today's guest is Eric. And he is the founder of With Eric's Help, a marketing agency dedicated to helping local businesses improve their online visibility through expert SEO, PPC management, and we're going to find out what that even means shortly, and tailored strategies. And of course, not only that, but he is a pretty cool guy and has an interesting story, which is why I've invited him to be my guest. And I've had loads of great reviews about Eric's work as well. So welcome to the coaching circle, Eric Ibekwem.
Thanks a lot, Tony. A pleasure to be on your podcast. And as previously mentioned, this is my first, so be
Yeah.
gentle with me.
Big gentle, yes. Well, I have very forgiving audience because obviously they've been listening to me now for we're getting close to 100 episodes. So I don't think you're going to be about episode 98. I think this is what this one is. So that's good. And but yeah, great to have you here. I'm really excited. And of course, I'm going to make you feel comfortable so you can share all your amazing knowledge. And no one will probably even realize, Eric, that I had to practice saying your last name 5 or 6 times before.
Yeah, it often gets incorrectly pronunciated, but it's a lot easier than it looks.
It is Ibekwem. Like it's just rolling off my tongue now, which is brilliant. So we're going to find out a bit about, your background and where you've come from and all of those things, and maybe even where your surname comes from, Eric. That might be exciting. But first of all, though, I want to just find out where, what led you to start your business? Because I know a lot of the people that listen to this podcast do have coaching businesses or well-being practitioners and things like that, but there's all kinds of different businesses as well. And I'm always fascinated in the person behind the business because I think this is the thing we've always got to remember. It's like people that are in these businesses. So what led you to start your business and why is what you do important to you?
I'm from a marketing and business background. I studied at a uni long time ago. Um, However, I didn't put any of that into action until I really moved to Australia. Um, so I was always in full-time employment. I met my wife in 2015 and had a good a good life in London. And I guess you could say love brought me to Australia. Um, and yeah, I was meeting a lot of local businesses, a lot of solopreneurs and sole traders who didn't really know too much about marketing. They really relied on word of mouth, or their location. So I started just by helping, family, friends, a lot of the wife's family who had small businesses. I started helping them with their social media back in 2017. Help them build databases, help them start email marketing and trying to capture the customers that came through to their websites. And pretty much from there, that's how my agency kind of started, really, just through helping, just through the willingness to help people in my network and family build their own businesses.
Yes, hence the name, I'm guessing, with Eric's help.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, my friend back in the UK, he said, "Oh, after I've helped him with a few of his websites and a few of his online, building his online presence, he said, "Oh, you should start a business called With Eric's Help." I didn't think much of it at the time, but here we are in 2025. With Eric's Help is going strong, and yeah, it just started from, I guess, my desire to help people, really. And I always wanted to upskill, and through helping local businesses, I just kept upskilling, really, and just learning more about social media, about Google Ads, SEO, and Google Business Profile, and all the other areas within marketing. So I guess predominantly started as a consultant more than anything,
Mm.
just helping businesses implement themselves and filling in and helping them do it when they couldn't do it themselves.
Yeah. And I think it's such a powerful thing. And this is one of the things that I talk to all of my clients about, because often, like the solopreneurs and the practitioners and those things, they're super focused on being like the amazing practitioner or coach or, whatever that might be, which is great. But that doesn't bring you clients. Like the people aren't just going to suddenly get this memo that, Tony's the most amazing coach. You got to
That's
go and
it.
work with
That's it.
her.
Yeah, that's it. And it's so common when you speak to businesses and that you ask, oh, how do people find out about your business? It's like, oh, just referrals. It's such a common thing that,
Yeah.
and I guess for a lot of solopreneurs or sole traders, they get into that cycle of you get too busy to even invest the time and the knowledge to find out strategies to actually build and grow your business because you're often busy doing the work. Um, so it's a
Yeah.
common trap. It's a common trap
Oh,
to.
absolutely. And I think that, it's one of the things that I talk to a lot of my clients about is that you just have to, if you're in business, you just have to make a decision that you're going to learn about marketing.
Mm,
Because I think I'd love to know your thoughts on this, Eric, but I think, yes, I absolutely, I think you've got great services, which we're going to go into in a bit, but I think it's really important that people at least understand a bit of that themselves rather than just going to someone and going, I don't know anything. Can you fix it for me? What are your thoughts about that?
oh, well, I think before you outsource anything, it's great to know at the very minimum the basics about what you're outsourcing because I hear it so commonly from businesses that have outsourced services and that they don't even know what they're outsourcing. So
Yes.
it's imperative to know what you're outsourcing, what the deliverables should be, what data that comes back, what it means because you hear it time and time again. I get a lot often in times of in the case of say SEO, for instance, search engine optimization for businesses that outsource that. A lot of the time they get a monthly report and then you speak to them, they say, I'll get a report. I don't even know what it means. And
Mm.
so how are you measuring what you're paying for? They're paying thousands in some cases and they don't even know if it's what if the work that is being done is good or not.
Yeah. What's it converting to? It's just like I'm just
Exactly, yeah.
ticking a box that says I'm paying someone to do my SEO, but like
Yeah,
what is that actually converting to, right?
exactly. So it's good to outsource things that that you're not great at or that are imperative for your business, but you need to know what you're outsourcing. It doesn't mean you need to be an ads pro or an SEO pro before you hire an agency to do it, but there's so much information out there. The internet is you've got work YouTube, you've got tutorials, you've got online courses that you don't need to do a 3 or 6 month course, but you can learn pretty quickly from a YouTube video what the deliverable should be when you employ someone to do SEO for your business or for Google Ads or whatever. So that information is all out there and
Yeah.
it should be common knowledge if you're outsourcing it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing. Like, what would you say then would be like, the key things that somebody should know in their business? Because, like, if someone comes to you and they say, Eric, I want some help with my SEO or whatever, what are some of the first questions that you're going to ask them?
The first questions would be what kind of traffic are you getting to your website at the moment? Do you check your Google Analytics? Do you check your Google Console? Do you check your Google Business profile? Because just those three platforms alone can give you amazing insights into how people are finding you, what actions they're taking on your website, um, you know, how they're viewing your pages, which pages are being shown in search engines. They can give you so much key information and they're free. They're not you don't have to pay for a subscription. So just those three tools alone can give you so much insight into your business from a website perspective, as well as even if you're a shop, if you have a physical location. Google Business Profile can show you your busiest periods. I'm sure we've all seen when we've looking for a business online, and then it shows the graph of their busiest times. Usually they're applicable for restaurants and places
Mm.
like that. So the amount of data that is available is amazing. But
That's a really good point, Eric. I've seen those when it says their busiest times. How does
mm,
Google actually know? Where does that data actually come from?
from our mobile devices, Google knows where we are pretty much
Really? But
all the
it's like,
time. So
is it
yeah,
only if you're using like Google Maps or like to get there?
not even
Or is it just,
necessarily. It doesn't know. You could be using other platforms. Even if you look at if you download an app, it will tell you in 9 times out of 10, the app will have access to your speaker, your location, so
yeah,
many things that it doesn't really need, but it's all about data gathering. So you
yes.
don't even have to check in. There's instances where people have had their phone off and they've been able to find out where you are, and so it's everything's trackable now.
Yes. Wow. This episode's going in a whole nother
Not
direction.
to scare anyone or anything, but I'm sure
But
we're all pretty aware now that
yeah, but I just never actually knew that. I used to see that and go, how
Mm,
does it even know? But wow, that's
yeah.
really interesting. So, cool. Well, let's just, all right. So these are some of the things that you're going to ask people already. So you're going to have a bit of an idea. So it's a good
Mm,
idea if you at least, and this is one of the things that I tell a lot of my clients now as well, is like you can like search anything you want on SEO or any of that stuff on YouTube or even ask ChatGPT just
mm.
to get information, right?
Oh,
That's pretty
100%.
kind of standard thing, which I think is a really important thing. So you actually even know what guidelines of what you need to be looking at. But I think, I think there's different clients that I work with because, like I said at the start, I guess there's such a focus for a lot of businesses on social media marketing now, and people will completely overlook, the whole Google business profile and those kinds of things. So can you tell me what you think, like I know I've got some businesses that have got a big social media following and maybe they're predominantly online, so they're like really focused on social media, but then I've got other businesses that do actually have brick and mortar
Hmm.
business or they're service based or whatever. And so their location is relevant and sometimes even like the difference between the type of services that they offer for what people are searching as to be a local kind of thing. So, for example, I've got, a couple of my clients are like massage therapists and that kind of thing. So,
Hmm.
clearly their location's very important and people are going to be searching for that. So, can you talk to that? Was that clear enough question? Can you talk to that a bit, Eric?
Yeah, so I guess for brick and mortar, it, they're very much dependent on local. So regardless of whether they're using social media or Google Business Profile or even to their website, for a local business, it's imperative to have location pages which might target a handful of suburbs. If you're, for instance, in North Adelaide, you might only be looking to capture clients in a 5K radius, really. So you
Mm.
might have location pages in those, in your nearest 5 suburbs, for instance.
When you say
Um,
location pages, what does that mean?
so on your website, you might have, a service page, which, using your example, if you're a massage business or therapist, you might have your domain, which is, adelaidemassage.com, locations, North Adelaide, just as an example for a
Mm.
URL. So you might have a few of those typical, um, we call them location pages, which are targeting specific locations. Because what I find is a lot of businesses are trying to target the whole of Adelaide, which if you're a plumber, you might not want to be going up to 20K 20K
Mm.
up into the hills, for instance. So
Oh, so do you mean like a location page is in like you've got your main domain. So say like
hmm
I've got tonyeverard.com and
hmm
then I would have like a page which I would normally think about as a landing page that would be like tonyeverard.com Broadview
yeah, yeah, exactly. So you're
forward slash
targeting.
Broadview or whatever. Yeah.
Correct, yeah. So
Yeah.
you're targeting, and it's very common for maybe some of the um bigger trade I guess, tradey types of businesses that they'll do that. So just as an example, it might be a pest control business that
Yeah.
they might cover the whole of Adelaide. So they'll create location pages for nearly, well, as many suburbs as they can, hoping to rank for those particular suburbs.
Yes.
So if someone in, Glenelg looks for a pest control service near me, then that potential
Will come up.
location page can show up.
Yes, which would
So
be like a page that wouldn't be shown on their actual website or menu necessarily, but it's just if
yeah,
it's searched, it
correct.
pops up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they might be listed. You might have a header that says locations, and then you'll have,
Yeah.
but they're generally not. If they've got heaps of them, they'll be too
Yeah.
messy to add them all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I guess the same applies from a social media perspective. You might be hashtagging, using hashtags. I know they're not as prevalent or as powerful these days. But back in the day, you might have a hashtag for massage North Adelaide, for instance, and then you'd use that to kind of dominate that kind of hashtag, because if people are
Hmm.
searching for hashtags, on Instagram you can search for locations, or you can search for hashtags. So it's all kind of feeding back into the same kind of strategy of being hyper focused on location
Yeah.
rather than just trying to be known in the whole of Adelaide or the whole of SA for a particular service. But again, it depends on your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So then so that's great if it's a brick and mortar business and they want to be found by that location, it's going to be relevant. But what if like for online businesses, like people that are delivering their services online, how's that different when it comes to, searching on Google business profiles?
Yeah, it's a bit harder for online, but so brick and mortar businesses will have a pin on Google Maps because that pin will be associated with an address.
Yep.
For online businesses, um, they won't. Most of them won't typically have an address unless they were set up a while ago. Because back in the day, you could set up an online business with a physical address. They'll send you a postcard. You'd
Yes.
verify. You put the postcard pin into to verify your profile. Now it's very different. So if you're an online marketer, for instance, unless you have a virtual office or a physical location, it will be tricky to kind of get that verified under an address. But they do have a section where you can select it as a service area. So you won't get a pin on Google Maps, but you can list the service areas that you serve.
Okay.
So it's a bit harder to rank because a lot of businesses find a way around these rules, and they will get a pin, which helps, which will improve the visibility of your profile. But for
Mm.
online businesses, the premise is still the same in terms of, getting your profile optimized, getting as many reviews as you can to stand out. Because if someone's looking for a service which is typically carried out online, they'll still go to Google Maps and see who's in the area. They won't typically have a brick and mortar physical address, which is fine. But the premise is still the same. It's still a fairly even playing field. You're always going to get businesses that kind of bend the rules or just totally break them and don't get don't get slapped on the wrist. But that's business. Some people do the right thing and some people don't.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's really interesting because when we look at like obviously because I work a lot with people, their mindset and their evolution of thinking, and even what is the mindset that you need when you're in business, because it's different than when you're in a job. And you would know this from doing the transition, mind you, for you having a background in marketing would have been a massive benefit when you started your business, because usually the biggest problem people have when they start their business is getting their head around sales and marketing, and it's normally feels weird for them. So if you've already got that background, you're like, you're on a good wicket,
Well,
which
yeah, I guess so. But I guess when I was doing the marketing I was doing, well, I finished uni in, gosh, when did I finish uni? 2000 2002. So marketing was very different then than than it is now.
oh
So
yeah.
when I look back, I wasn't drawing on a lot of a lot. I wasn't drawing on a lot of the experiences and the information that I had from my university days of doing marketing. A lot of it was self-taught and watching YouTube, doing courses,
Yeah.
because as we know, technology is so rapid. So
Yes, yeah.
it,
And
yeah,
look, and definitely I think it's a changing landscape of the how to, but the thought process, like the structure of like what even marketing is and the purpose of it, I think there would be some consistent themes that have, obviously pulled through
mm,
from
yeah,
that. But
definitely, yeah,
yeah, it's I think, this is an interesting thing because like I said, a lot of businesses struggle with this. They're getting their head around the marketing and the sales and feeling like they're, you know, selling themselves and, putting themselves and just feeling like really cheesy about it, or which is just, you have to be in the environment of business and doing the marketing and sales to actually get what it is. And
yeah.
um, what would you, if you were to give like a really simple definition of what marketing is, what would you say, Eric?
Um, I would say it's conveying outcomes,
Conveying outcomes.
conveying outcomes, because no one cares too much about how it's done. No one
Yep.
really cares about, well, they care when they have to do it, to be fair, but in terms of in terms of hiring someone to do it, they
Yeah.
kind of want an outcome.
Yeah.
I guess it's a bit similar when you're thinking of, maybe buying, well, it depends, when you're buying a car or, buying your first car, you're thinking about the image, you're thinking about who that's going to make you become. Same as all those big brands, they convey who you want to become. So I
Yes.
think stressing the outcome is huge. And I
Yeah.
guess for a lot of sole traders, they're having to put on that marketing hat as opposed to maybe someone like myself who has learnt marketing first before running a business. So I think I can't remember which book. I think it was is it Stephen Gerber? It's what is that book called? The E-Myth. I don't know if
Ah,
you've read it. It's a
yes.
great book
I've got
about
that
going.
book here somewhere, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's brilliant. It just really emphasizes going from practitioner to business owner. So
Yeah.
it's very common, you'll have a sole trader or a tradie or whatever business, they're in the job, and
Yeah.
then they have to kind of step away and start looking at lead gen, marketing, and all the rest of it's just another skill set altogether. So
Yes.
there's a lot of friction and discomfort when you tell someone who's just been maybe the chef in a restaurant who then feels that, oh, I make great food, so I can open my own restaurant, and then they take on 20 other hats that go along with being a business owner. And yeah, you can sense, I'm sure you'll get this a lot when you're coaching businesses through having to put on a few extra hats on. They don't feel that comfort of getting in front of a camera and talking about the skills that they have, and conveying that to random people because they're worried about being judged and God knows it, all
Oh,
the other
100%.
emotions that come up.
It's so true. It's so funny, Eric. I remember like the first thing I did before, like I'd done a bit of MLM stuff like years ago, like with, makeup and skincare and stuff like that, but nothing really serious. But right before I started my coaching business, I actually got into affiliate marketing. This was in 2015. And yeah, so I learned a lot. I didn't make any money, mind you, doing affiliate marketing, zero. Like,
Most don't.
no, and the affiliate marketing company was like literally they taught you how to sell their product, which was teaching people how to sell products.
Of course.
But like I did learn, a lot of stuff there. But I remember they had this like 90-day video challenge where you would have to take a video of yourself, and you couldn't do live video then. Like it was
Hmm.
just you just had to record a video and then post it in this group. I remember the first video that I did, I thought I'll go to the beach, right? I'll go and do this video on the beach. It'd just be amazing. Literally, I sat there for about half an hour, I reckon, trying to make sure nobody was going to walk past me because I'd look like an idiot. That's what I thought. And then
Yeah.
I just eventually took this video and I looked like a deer in the headlights. I was petrified. And it was the most uncomfortable thing in the world. Like I had a terrible, terrible fear of public speaking and all kinds of stuff, right? But I did this challenge, 90 days, every day for 90 days. I've recorded a video and I posted it in this group. And since then, I've done another 90-day challenge and I've done 30-day challenge. I've literally done so much video that like now I just jump on video. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But people go, oh, well, it's easy for you. It's like, no, it wasn't easy for me. It was really freaking uncomfortable. But I I did it and I made it comfortable.
Well, that's it, because you're doing the reps, and that's
Yeah.
what no one really sees. They think it's the same as, I guess, bodybuilders or fit people in fitness. When they look at, oh, they must have good genes. They must have. It's like no one sees them slaving away for 6 hours a day in the gym and eating, broccoli and chicken for 6 months straight. So it's the reps.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not. I was the same recording video. I used to edit. I used to analyze. Oh, why is my face like that? Why is my eyebrow up there? And then you
Yeah.
kind of
Oh, the
procrastinate and
eyebrows. Oh my God. And the
yeah, yeah,
blinking.
yeah.
Why am I
Exactly.
blinking so
That's
much?
right. So it takes a long time to get comfortable, especially, public speaking. I think is probably the most feared thing apart from, I can't remember, is it
Yeah.
heights or something like that? So
Yeah.
it's no one teaches you how to. I guess the new kids of today, it's going to be nothing for them to just get on a camera because that's what they're around. But yeah,
Yeah.
back in the day, sounded like an old man. Um, yeah, it wasn't the norm to record yourself. Most people don't want to be in pictures, never mind videos.
Yeah.
So it's
And
a
I think this
skill.
is the thing, right? It's visibility. And I think it just ties into marketing so much, is that you have to be okay with people perceiving you and
Mm,
perceiving what it is that you do and what you put out. Because like I talk to my clients about this all the time, because the fact is everyone's like, oh, what will people think? And people won't agree with me and da da da. And like I've been trolled before on social media about stuff. And like when you see the comments like come up, you go, oh my God. And then you just realize, who is this random
yeah, that's right.
weirdo? What have they got nothing better to do? But
That's right.
the fact is, people always have a judgment about you no matter what you
Oh,
do.
for sure.
And I think that's the key thing, that you just have to be okay with the fact that people will think stupid things about you,
Oh,
like
for
because
sure. Yeah.
people think stupid things. But it's that really focus on who is your message actually for? Who are you actually putting this out there? And like I really like when you said about, essentially you're wanting to convey outcomes, right? You're wanting to communicate outcomes. And I think I liked that metaphor about the car, because if you look at any car ads, what do they show you? Someone like, like driving and everything's really sleek and fast and
Yeah.
beautiful and everything. They're not going, look, and you can put in 98 fuel and this is the factory that your car was made in. No one
That's
cares.
right. And they don't talk about features. They talk
Yeah,
about, look
it's
at
just,
this car going up a hill. They
yeah,
want to attract,
how powerful you're going to feel
that's
accelerating
right.
up through the hills in this
Yeah,
sporty
that's it.
car. Yeah, that's,
So yeah, I think it's definitely about no one, well, people do care. Like I said, it depends if they're outsourcing it, but generally they want to get from A to B in the
yeah,
shortest amount of time, generally.
yeah. So
But
you're basically showing you I'm going to help you get this result. And
mhm.
if you're a service provider, I guess, especially in the coaching wellbeing like space, I've got this result for myself. And look, I'm demonstrating it.
That's it. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
always a good
So
idea. Yeah.
you'll know the same with your clients. They're usually reaching out to you because they want to get from A to B,
Yeah.
and you're
Faster,
you're there to
easier.
bridge that gap, right?
Yeah. 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 Good. Oh, good. Now, Eric, so we've talked about SEO, which is search engine optimization, right? Which is what's your most simple explanation of SEO?
Allowing people that are looking for your service or product, allowing them to find you quickly through a Google search.
Google search. So they put in massage, Gillis Plains. I'm thinking about one of my clients. And then ideally, up comes your business.
Their website, correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, yeah, as succinct as I can put it, I think.
Yeah, beautiful. And then the other thing that you said was PPC management. And I had to ask you what PPC management was, which you kind of told me was pay per click, which I was
Mhm.
like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Can you tell us a bit about what that is?
Mm. So I guess for people that want to fast track the ability of their brand being found first, they will pay to be shown first. So therefore, so PPC is basically Google's previous name for Google Ads,
Yeah,
um, where you can pay Google to be placed above all of those businesses and websites that have spent time trying to rank. You can go above the list,
yeah,
jump to the top of the queue, and every time someone clicks on your listing, you will pay a fee.
yeah,
So that clicking on that listing will obviously take them to your website and increase the chance of them proceeding with, with whatever action you want them to take on your website. So obviously that will increase the amount of clicks and the amount of traffic that you get in an ideal world, um, to ramp up that process of, you know, whatever it is you're selling or offering.
yeah, yeah. And I think, the important thing is like when we're looking at ads, because essentially it's like you're amplifying that reach, essentially, right?
Mm.
So I think, the key thing, because often I hear people when they talk about, oh, if I get ads, they're just going to solve all my problems. But I learned very quickly when I was doing affiliate marketing that ads didn't solve all my problems. Um, in quite an expensive way, to be honest. But it's because of where is that going, right? So, what do you think, like, is the key thing? If you're thinking about doing ads, what should someone be really thinking about? What is the purpose of that? And like, where are you leading those ads to, I guess? Because it's one thing if you're like, okay, people are going to click more on my website, but
Hmm.
then what? I guess people are kind of thinking, oh yeah, people are just going to see my website and they're going to
Hmm.
magically book in, right? But what are the key things there that you kind of looking at if someone's going to be, finding your
Hmm.
website through ads?
So the key thing is from a foundational level is to ensure that the ads are set up correctly. Because if you try and sell everything to everyone is going to click. You're going to be paying for that click. They'll realize that they're in the wrong place, or this isn't aligning with their search intent, and they will click away. You're paying for these clicks, so you want to ensure it's super, super targeted. So whenever we set up ads, we ensure that it's usually for one service, and we do our best to filter out everything outside of that. So just as an example, running ads for a dog grooming business, they want to promote solely dog grooming, nothing outside of that. They do have services outside of that, but they want to focus solely on the dog grooming. So, and in a particular location. So the key is to have all the parameters in place to ensure that only people that meet that criteria are going to click on the ad.
Yeah,
Because a lot of businesses who set their ads up, they go super broad. They use their homepage, which is usually like a menu page of the different services they offer, and it's not targeted enough. So they end up getting traffic and they get clicks. They pay for the clicks, but nothing happens after that because
not going anywhere. Yeah,
they've gone too broad. So that's the foundational aspect. Next is ensuring that you have an adequate ad spend to get enough traffic, because if you're paying, depending on what you're paying per day, you might be paying $3 or $4 a click. But then if you've only got a $40 a day ad budget, you're only going to get 3 or 4 clicks a day.
yeah, yeah,
So if you don't have an ad budget to at least get 10 or between 9 and 11 clicks a day, then you really shouldn't be running ads, because be running Google ads because you can't get enough traffic per day to get enough data to then start optimizing.
Mm.
So all of these considerations are really at the foundational level when you're setting the ad up. And that's why I usually advise, unless a business owner has significant experience with doing this, I would not suggest following Google's done for you setup, because it's usually a
Yeah.
very broad setup because they want business owners to set this up ASAP and start paying, and Google gets paid.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just interested in, I mean, that's their thing, isn't it? They're just interested in you paying them. Yeah. So I guess then it's like you were saying, it's really looking into what is it specifically you want to drive people to. So if they're clicking on there, is it like when they click and they land on that page that it's very limited, like it's very direct about what the person's going to do next?
Very
Like,
focused, yeah,
yeah,
very
book,
focused.
book in or pull this or do whatever.
That's right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And again, a lot of businesses use their homepage, which is
Too
too
broad.
broad.
And there's no clear call to action or,
Yeah, that's right. It's
yeah,
usually just a list of services or a menu, and a menu of services, and it's just not focused. It's not laser targeted enough.
yeah.
So
So it
you
needs to be something really clear, simple. The person lands on it, they can clearly
hmm
see what's going to be their next action
needs
and
to
that it's
resonate.
taking them to what they actually want.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, the outcomes, the social proof. So in a lot of cases, we'll create a specific landing page that meets that kind of criteria, rather than just a homepage, which is usually just a broad option of
Yeah.
services and products.
Do
So
you think that's what like business owners are doing sometimes? They're just kind of like more focused on how does me and my business look overall rather than thinking about, okay, my actual client is going to have
mm,
a focus of what they want and they want to
100%.
have a really clear pathway of how do I get that? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of businesses, they think that, all right, we just need more views on we need more views on our homepage, but it's not that. They need to, because they need to remember that people are searching this. So they're searching these key terms. So if you've gone too broad, you're going to just get anyone and everyone. Some are just looking for information, some are just looking for research. So
Yeah.
there's so many search terms out there that if you haven't filtered out, um, the keywords to restrict from clicking on your ad or showing your ad, the locations. Even I had a client in in Perth, and I was running their ads. They've then moved provider, and then I clicked, GP in their location, and their ad showed up. And I said no. I messaged him saying, your ad shouldn't be showing up to me because I don't live in Perth. So you need to speak to your speak to your Google Ads guy or your friend
Mm.
who's running it for you, and get them to restrict it to people that live, within a 5 to 10K radius, not people
Yeah.
that live
Because that's really
interstate.
important because it's not just yeah, you could get people clicking on. It's really interesting actually because that's funny you should say that, Eric, because I haven't been to the doctor in years, but there's a local clinic here that when I used to go and see them and I'd put in the name, I'd
Hmm.
also get this listing of some clinic somewhere else randomly. And it was so confusing for me. It was nowhere
Yeah.
near me. So I could have put them onto you and said, hey, you need to sort out your
That's right. You need to restrict your ad from just showing to the world, because if you click that, that's probably, $4 or $5 that out of their ad budget.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is really useful information, Eric, and I think it's super important and valuable for people just to get this bit of an understanding around it because I think once you've got an understanding of a concept, you never know when that information is going to be relevant to you.
Mm,
And I think it changes like what else you hear and what else you bring in and what other ideas that you get and all those kinds of things. So,
mm.
this is really great stuff. And you're saying that, you also help people with like tailored strategies. So, like, what does that mean specifically? If you're doing a tailored strategy, so does this mean you don't have a cookie cutter program that you just put everyone
No,
through?
no, 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 programs here. I've got some basic services which are applicable across multiple different industries or businesses. However, the consulting aspect of my business is consultative. I'm not trying to funnel you into any sort of program or mastermind group or anything like that. It's literally
Yeah.
just tailored to get you from where you feel you need to get to. And
Yes.
I'll give you that kind of insight knowledge because, like you said, a lot of businesses just think, oh, I just need to run ads, and then they realize they either don't have the budget or they don't have the infrastructure because, again, you might want to run ads and the ads might be profitable to an extent, but if you haven't got a nurturing system at the back end as well to really get the full value of each, to extend the lifetime value of every customer, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And it makes ads more expensive. So having a step-by-step plan is always, it's beneficial for every business. It's just like for your life, if you don't have a plan, then where are you heading to? So, yeah,
Mm.
my consultant clients, we look at social media, we look at Google, we look at SEO. I know it's a more holistic view on all the options that are available now. Stick AI into that as well because that's playing a massive role in marketing, in SEO, and in business in general. So a lot of things can be expedited, but a lot of things you need to take consideration for AI because your competitors are going to be using AI to their advantage. So how can we do the same?
Oh, do you know what? That's a really interesting thing that you've brought up, Eric, because I saw something, it might have been on TikTok, but I'm sure it's still true. But this guy was talking about like there's this shift like with AI and especially things like ChatGPT now that there's like I think they quoted like a 30% downturn on searches on Google because more people are searching for stuff in AI.
Hmm.
Um, and because obviously, things like ChatGPT are pulling information from the web anyway. So is there a difference then in how we're wanting to SEO? I think this person talked about AEO. Um, like that is going to make a difference between what gets picked up from a Google search compared to like a ChatGPT
Mm.
search.
Yeah, 100%. Even in my day to day, I'm not going to scour Google and different individual websites for certain information. I'll just go go straight to ChatGPT or Gemini or Bard. There's so many options now. So
Yes.
yeah, it is having an impact on SEO because less people are searching. But however, it's less so the case if you're looking for a local chiropractor, you're not going to go to ChatGPT. You're going to go to Google Maps predominantly if you're looking for one near you. So for certain types of queries, it's not going to affect AI isn't going to affect our search intent as much more
Do you
for.
think it would move that way though, Eric? Because like I have done some searches before for stuff. I think it was like we did house renovations last year and
Mhm.
I got this new tile splashback and I was like, oh, these are all white tiles and a lot of white grout. I should probably get a tile protector,
Yeah.
right? So I asked ChatGPT about it. And then I asked where I could find these products locally, and it
Hmm.
definitely gave me some like local hardware stores and where it
Mm.
was and how much it was and stuff like that. So I was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. So is
yeah,
it
definitely.
will
It's
people? Yeah,
it's definitely a topic because at the moment we're trying to find out the best way to get businesses mentioned into those SEO summaries. Even when you go to Google, you'll see an AI summary at the top, and I think that's going to play an even bigger part as time goes on because if you can get yourself mentioned in AI summaries, that's a massive win.
yeah,
SEO is still going to be the foundation. Um, Getting into those AI summaries at the top of search results
yeah,
is key. Hard to do, but we're working on ways to fulfill that because again, there's just so many lists now. You want to be top of your Google Maps. You want to be top of AI included in AI summaries, and then you want by the time you get down to the search results, you're already scrolled halfway down your page. But SEO is still going to be foundational, because if you don't have strong SEO, there's no chance of being included in AI summaries, because AI summaries are grabbing their information from strong, well set up, well structured websites. It loves Q&A format. It loves super, what's the word? Super niche, super detailed. Because if you're just using AI to create your website, it's not going to be, it's not going to be fun. AI is not going to be including it in summaries because it's just too generic.
Mm,
So it loves niche content, and Q&A. So again, Q&As should be a big part of your SEO strategy on your website, even as well as your Google Business profile as well. So anywhere you can include that kind of information, AI loves questions and thorough answers.
yeah. Yeah, great. Well, Eric, I feel like I could keep talking about this stuff. Um, but clearly, if people really want to go further with this, they need to go and reach out to you, because I know, like, we can talk about SEO and having those, keywords and locations and all those kinds
Hmm.
of things, but it's the work you do, I know, goes even more in depth into what type of headings that these words go into in your website and all. There's
Hmm.
lots of stuff in the background, isn't it, about
Oh,
getting it all
heaps.
done.
Yeah. It's not just aesthetic, it's back end, it's front and sides.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah, and it has to be, really, because like you said, with AI entering into search results, and it's really potentially going to be an impact for local businesses to show up at the top. So it's so important to have these insights and know this information so that you can strategize. If you don't know what's happening around you, how can you put together a strategy to dominate your local industry or area? There's no chance.
Yeah.
So it's important to have, just be aware of the help and resources that are out there, whether it's through myself or other marketing consultants that can help guide you towards where you want to get to.
Yeah. So speaking of you helping people, Eric, what's the best way for people to get in contact? Clearly, I'll put your details in the show notes for people, but how's the best way people get in contact with you?
Via my website with ericshelp.com, or via LinkedIn, everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, just type in with Eric's Help.
You're
I should
everywhere.
I
Yeah.
should I should be ranking top for that phrase.
Oh, good.
So I should be quite easy to find. Just send me a message. Send
Oh,
me a
that's a
message.
good test, isn't it? We'll just see what it
That's
says.
it.
This
That's
is how
right.
we should find him. So
That's
if he comes up, it's a good idea he's doing.
that's right.
And you've got a free resource. It's a marketing resource.
Yeah, it's a Google Business Profile optimization checklist. Bit of a mouthful. So yeah, that can be accessed through my website.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I'll put the link for that in the show notes as
yeah,
well.
perfect.
Yeah, excellent. And so I guess, just on getting away from that a little bit, and just really for the other business owners out there, like, what do you think, Eric, has been the most challenging thing for you in business and the most rewarding thing for you in business?
The most challenging was, I guess, realizing my own value at the
Mm,
beginning, because I started helping other similar types of businesses, sole traders and people struggling for time. So I guess being empathetic to that, I was always undercharging and undervaluing myself, and probably
mm,
maybe not looking beyond the struggling sole trader, for instance,
yeah.
because I could relate to that. So that was probably my struggle, to just kind of excel from that.
Yes.
Um, Rewarding was, I guess, just getting clients from A to B, and them realizing that, because in marketing it's very subjective. A lot of agencies will just happily send you a report saying that we're doing a great job every month, and the client still isn't receiving any new phone calls and inquiries. So it's it's reassuring to me that I can speak with my clients and they feel like they're actually benefiting as well. So
Yeah.
it's never a case of just showing them a graph, an upward graph, and telling them that we're doing well, but
Yeah.
they need to feel that. So yeah, I think those have been the struggles and the highlights of my journey so far.
Yeah. And you know what? I really like that. I think that's a key thing for people to realize is that it's not just people with very little money that need help.
Mm. Oh, for sure.
There's people that have got money that need help, and they'll be completely grateful for your help, and they'll be, some of your greatest clients as well. And I
Mm.
think that is a really good lesson, because I think a lot of people get caught up in this, oh, but nobody's got money and I have to do that. Like, there's
That's
plenty of
right.
people that got money that want your help. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So yeah, it's yeah, the more the journey continues, the more you grow, and it's more of a mindset thing, I think, in a lot of
Opens up.
cases. Mm.
Yeah, good. And I've been keeping myself in suspense about this question, Eric. Where does your surname originate from?
It originates from Nigeria. So my mum was born in Nigeria and lived in Cameroon for most of her life. My dad was Nigerian, and yeah, that Ibekwem, or as they'd say, is Ibekwem, as they would call it, as they pronounce it in
Ibekwem. What was the difference in the enunciation there?
I,
Ibe
I, Ibekwem.
Ibekwem. Is it changing the sound of the E?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, fascinating. And finally, the question I always like to ask, because I think as a business owner, we've always got to remember to still have fun, right? So that business doesn't take over our lives. But what do you do for fun? I know you've got young family and stuff, but what do you
Mhm.
do for fun, Eric?
Walking football every Tuesday night in Mitcham.
Walking football?
That's right.
What is
So
walking football?
it's okay. So I should
Pretty
say
much
walking
doesn't.
soccer. Sorry, I keep forgetting I'm in Australia, not in the
Yes.
UK.
My grandparents, all my family from the UK, and when my grandparents first, well, I was born in Australia, it's not long after, but my grandparents lived across the road from a soccer field, and Grandpa used to always be telling me about football, and I'm like, it's not football, Grandpa, it's soccer.
Yeah, so that's my Tuesday night fix. So
Walking
I
soccer.
play walking football because of a few injuries and I can't really risk running and playing anymore. So this is the next best thing. So I play with a few other geriatrics at Mitcham. So yeah, they'll be glad I gave it a mention.
Give it a bit of a plug, yeah. Oh, fabulous! Shout out to the Mitcham walking soccer team. Do they call
Yeah.
themselves? Are they all from the UK? Do they call them?
Oh no, it's a mixture. It's
Yeah.
I think the Facebook group is Walking Football South Australia, but I might have got that wrong. But
So it
it's
started
quite
by
big.
someone from the UK, sounds like, because if it was South Australia, if it's Australia, they would have said soccer, no?
No, no, it's Walking
Yeah,
Football South Australia. So if there's a Facebook group, so if you
yeah,
and they have a few locations around SA, it's pretty big in terms of
yeah.
yeah, it's pretty big. So yeah, that's my route of fun every
I love it.
Tuesday
There's
night.
these random sports. Someone else I remember telling me about how they do like ultimate frisbee or something. Like there's this frisbee as an actual sport. And I'm like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think I might have seen that down near West Beach. I think I've
Mm,
seen some keen frisbee players.
yeah, fantastic. We could do frisbee football. That would be a thing.
Yeah.
But Eric, thank you so much for coming on and sharing loads of valuable knowledge around SEO and PPC and all things marketing. It's super helpful, and I know that our listeners will get a lot out of it. And of course, I'll pop all your details in the show notes so people can get in contact with you
Awesome.
and get their resources and yeah, really get things sorted on their websites and online marketing presence. So thank you.
No, thank you, Tony. It's been a pleasure.